Welcome to Millennium Daytime Bulletin. I'm Shweta Samar from New Delhi and you are watching Millennium News Channel 24. Today I'm bringing you the latest news from around the world. Let's begin with today's top headlines. Israel military strikes Yemen hours after Houthi targets Israel. Russia-Ukraine exchange missile attacks in Kyiv. Zelensky called Putin a dumbass for challenging a missile duel. Trump says any shutdown in a Biden problem to solve. Macron thanks Giselle Pellicourt for courage and dignity in mass rape trial. US deportations under Biden surpassed Trump's record. Pakistan denounces US sanctions on its missile program as discriminatory. Mixed markets as Dow rises, Latin America offers positivity amid modest declines. World Cup for red ball players, South Africa's Themba Bavuma sets sight on WTC final. LeBron James set new NBA record in Lakers win. Now let's look at the details. Israel's military launched deadly strikes on Houthi targets in Yemen early Thursday, just hours after the Iran-backed militant group's latest attack on Israel. 9 people were killed and 3 others injured in Israeli airstrikes on a port and oil facility near the capital Sana'a, said Nasruddin Amr, deputy head of the Houthi media office, in a post on X. Earlier, Houthi-run Al-Masirah TV said the Israeli strikes targeted Hias and Danban power stations near the capital and the Hoidia port and the Ras Issa oil facility. Israel military said the airstrikes were retaliation for Houthi missiles and drone attack on Israeli over the past year, most of which were intercepted. Israel's long hand will reach you as well, Israeli Defense Minister Israeli Katz said in a warning to Houthi leader following the strikes. Whoever raises a hand against the state of Israel, his hand will be cut off. Whoever harms us will be harmed sevenfold. Tensions between Israel and the Houthis have escalated for months as Israel wages its war on the Hamas in Gaza following the Palestinian militant group's attack 7 October, with the world leaders warning for the potential for a wider Middle East conflict. Earlier Thursday, sirens were heard in central Israel after the Israeli military intercepted a missile launched from Yemen, the Israeli Defense Forces IDF said. A school was damaged and no injuries were reported, said the IDF. The Houthis later claimed they had achieved their goals in a twin missile attack on Israeli military targets in the Tel Aviv area. The Houthis have attacked Israel, its allies, and vital red shipping lines in rejection of Israel's military campaign in Gaza that has killed more than 45,000 Palestinians. The group, which controls Yemen's most populous region, say that they don't stop striking Israel and its allies until a ceasefire is reached in a Palestinian enclave. In July, the Houthis claimed responsibility for a deadly drone attack in Tel Aviv area, Israel Commercial Center, the first such strike in the city by the group. The Kyiv city military administration confirmed the death in a post on Telegram, adding that 12 others have been injured. Of those injured, 5 were hospitalized, with the rest were treating at the bed. In the scene, it is that comes a day after Russian leaders Vladimir Putin challenged Ukraine to a duel in his end-of-year conference, prompting Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky to call the Russian leader a dumbass. Let them propose some kind of technological experiment, a kind of high-tech duel in the 21st century, let's say, Putin said during the Thursday event in Moscow. Zelensky, in response, hurled the rude epithet at the Kremlin leader in comment made online. According to Ukraine's Air Force Command, Russia fired 5 ballistic missiles at Kyiv at around 7 a.m. on Friday. Ukrainian air defense shot down all 5 missiles. In addition, 40 UAVs were shot down and another 20 drones did not reach their targets, according to the command. However, falling debris caused damage and injuries in the city center, said officials. In one district, an office building, road surface and gas pipe were damaged and 5 cars caught fire. Popko, the head of the Kyiv City Military Administration, said on Telegram. In another district, a fire broke out at the site of the building under construction. Several embassies housed in the same building were damaged, according to the Ukrainian's foreign ministry, with a spokesperson, Hyodry Turkey, calling the attack barbaric. These are the embassies of Albania, Argentina, Palestine, North Macedonia, Portugal, and Montenegro. Taiki told the media briefing windows and doors were smashed in the premises. Portugal said the facilities suffered light damage and summoned the Russian charge the affair to protest. Russia's defense ministry said it launched long-range missiles at Ukrainian military targets on Friday in response to a Ukrainian attack on targeting a chemical plant in Russia's Rostov region earlier this week. The attack was carried out using American-made ATACMS 80 ACMS missiles, the ministry said, in response to the action of the Kyiv regime. Supported by the Western curators this morning, a group strike with long-range precision weapons was launched against the SBU command post. The Kyiv Luch Design Bureau, which designs and manufactures Neptune missile system, Olka grounded-based cruise missiles and positions of the Patriot anti-aircraft missile system, Russian missile ministry said on the Telegram last week. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky had a tart response to the Russian President Vladimir Putin's annual year-end news conference Thursday, hurling a rude epithet at the Kremlin leader in comment online. During the press conference, Putin boasted about the capability of the Orshik, a new nuclear-capable ballistic missile that Russia recently fired at the Ukrainian city of Dnipro. He also repeated an early threat to strike Ukraine again with the missile, suggesting that it be fired at Kyiv as a test of Western-supplied air defense equipment. Let them propose some kind of technological experiment, a kind of high-tech duel of the 21st century, let's say, Putin said. Let them determine some target to be hit. For the example, in Kyiv, they concentrate all their air and missile defense forces there, and we will strike there with the Orshnik and we'll see what happens. He added, we are ready for such an experiment in any case. We don't rule it out. We will conduct such an experiment, such a technological duel, and see what happens. It's interesting, Zelensky posted on the excerpt of those remarks on X, commenting in English that people are dying and he thinks it's interesting. Donbass. He also posted a similar comment in Ukrainian. Putin appeared to make similar glib remarks about the war in Ukraine at the beginning of the comment on Thursday, imitating that war was making life more interesting. You know, when everything is calm, measured, stable, you get bored. Stagnation, you need some action. As soon as the action starts, everything whizzes past your head. Seconds, bullets. Unfortunately, bullets are whistling now. President-elect Donald Trump worked Friday morning to foist the blame for any potential government shutdown on the current White House, insisting that the funding fight on Capitol Hill is a Biden problem to solve. Lawmakers had seemed on track earlier this week to fund the government with the time to spare, settling on a bipartisan stopgap spending bill known as the Continuing Resolution or CR that would extend government spending into March and include a lot of add-ons to appease Democrats and others. But the plan quickly drew the ire of Trump ally Elon Musk, followed by the president-elect and Vice-elect J.D. Vance thanking the bill that the still government funding set to run out at the midnight on Friday. Trump insisted that it is the President Joe Biden who should be held responsible for any shutdown. If there is going to be a shutdown of government, let it begin now under the Biden administration, not after January 20th. Under Trump, the president-elect wrote on Truth Social, "This is a Biden problem to solve, but if Republicans can help solve it, they will." Popular interest to Trump amid the ongoing spending negotiation is an increase or outright removal of the government debt limit. The president-elect has insisted that any funding package includes such a provision, an especially tough pill to swallow for conservatives who have for years forced painful debt limit fight on the Capitol Hill. Congress must get rid of or extend out to perhaps 2029 the ridiculous debt ceiling, Trump wrote on Truth Social just after 1 a.m. Friday morning. Without this, we should never make a deal. Remember, the pressure is on whoever is president. Lawmakers have so far struck out on the legislation that would meet Trump's demands. A hastily brokered deal to fund the government and extend the debt collapsed on the House floor with 38 Republican defectors. Thursday night, Speaker Mike Johnson worked through the night Thursday into Friday on a Plan C after ditching the original bipartisan deal and failing to pass the new bill on the House floor. Johnson and Trump were both weighing the pros and cons of the government shutdown. French President Emmanuel Macron has paid tribute to Gisèle Pelicot for the strength she showed in the mass rape trial of her husband at the 50 other men alongside her, describing her for a trailblazer for the woman. He said that the dignity and courage moved and inspired France and the world. Her ex-husband, Dominique Pelicot, 72, was given a maximum 20 years in jail for aggravated rape after confessing to drugging her for almost a decade and recruiting dozens of men to rape her while she was in the comatose bed. After 50 other men were given lesser sentences, Pelicot said the trial was difficult ordeal, but she believed in the future where women and men would live in harmony with respect and mutual understanding. It was her decision to waive her anonymity and throw the trial open to the public that drew global attention on the issues of rape and drug-induced sexual assault. Judges in Avignon in southern France found all 51 defendants aged 27 to 74 guilty, but a lawyer for Gisèle Pelicot said on Friday that no sentence will give her back the ruined life she has now. Her 3 children were said to have been disappointed that many of the sentences had been shorter than the terms requested by the prosecutors. They ranged from 3 to 15 years rather than the maximum of 18 sought by prosecutors. 41 of the men have been sent to jail immediately, reporters said. Many of these convicted are likely to appeal against their sentences. Dominique Pelicot, lawyer, said he has been somewhat stunned by the 20-year jail term and would decide whether to appeal in the coming days. Judges say he will also have to serve 2/3 of his sentence before being eligible for parole. Campaigners against sexual violence have stood outside the court throughout the trial and hope it could bring about reform of France's rape laws and change the debate on the rape culture and drug-induced sexual assaults. Shame changes sides has become one of the slogans in the case, and In the indication of the importance of the trial, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz thanked Gilles Pelicot for the giving of women around the world a strong voice. US immigration authorities last year reported the largest number of undocumented immigrants in nearly a decade, surpassing the record of Donald Trump's first term in office. More than 271,000 immigrants were deported from the US over the last fiscal year, according to the report released by the US Immigration and Custom Enforcement Agency on Thursday. The ICE, that is the Immigration and Custom Enforcement report, comes just weeks before President-elect Trump, who has plans to make mass deportation a cornerstone in his incoming administration, takes office. President Joe Biden in 2021 had pledged to pause deportations, but his administration ended up expanding it following a surge in border crossings. CE said the steep climb in deportations last fiscal year was partially the result of a streamlined process. More deportation flights went to the further away destinations, including Africa and Asia, which did not accept the US deportation for years, the agency said. A majority of the deportation in the fiscal year 2024 involved immigrants and migrants apprehended for the border officials compared to those ICE arrested in the US interior. Roughly 82% of the 271,000 immigrants deported that year were arrested by border agents. President-elect Donald Trump has vowed to launch the largest deportation operation in history when he returns to office on 20th January. Those promises, however, are likely to face enormous logistical and financial challenges leading up to his decisive victory over Biden in November. Trump spent much of his time on the campaign trail attacking the White House border politics. Trump transition spokeswoman Carolyn Leavitt told Reuters that Biden deportations were insignificant compared to the high levels of illegal immigration during his presidency. On day one, President will fix the immigration and national security nightmare that Joe Biden created by launching the largest mass deportation operation of illegal criminals in the United States of America in the history, she said. The number of migrant encounters along the US-Mexico border reached a record high in December 2023 but have dropped significantly, particularly in last few months, and are now on their lowest level since the July 2020, according to the US Customs and Border Protection (CBP). And it is attributed the rise in deportation to improved diplomatic efforts convincing countries to take back more deportees. Pakistan on Thursday denounced new US sanction on the country's ballistic missile program on discriminatory that puts the region's peace and security at risk. Pakistan's foreign ministry warned in a statement that the sanctions have dangerous implications for strategic stability of our region and beyond. It also cast doubt on the US allegations that the targeted businesses were involved in weapon proliferation because previous sanctions were based on mere doubts and suspicion without any evidence whatsoever. It is also accused that the US is of double standards and waiving licensing requirements for advanced military technology to other countries. The sanctions freeze any US property belonging to the target businesses and bar Americans from doing businesses with them. The US State Department said one such sanctioned entity, the Islamabad-based National Development Complex, worked to acquire items for developing Pakistan's long-range ballistic missiles program that includes the Shaheen series of ballistic missiles. The other sanctioned entities are Akhtar and Sun Private Limited Affiliate, International and Rockside Enterprises. U.S. State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller said on Friday that ex-U.S. President and the U.S. had been clear and consistent about their concerns over such weapon proliferation and that it would continue to engage constructively with the Pakistan on these issues. Global market displayed a mixed performance today, with the Dow Jones in the United States gaining momentum while the tech-heavy Nasdaq weighed on overall sentiment. Meanwhile, Latin America's market saw divergent trends with notable gains in Mexico, in the United States, and Dow Jones Industrial Average rose 0.15%, adding 63.94 points to close at 42,000. This upward movement suggests optimism in blue chip stock, likely buoyed by positive corporate development. The S&P 500, however, edged down slightly by 0.05%, losing 2.89 points to settle at 5,000. The Nasdaq continued its downward trend, felling 0.29% and shedding 56 points as investor caution persisted in the tech sector. Interestingly, the VIX, often referred to as the fear gauge, climbed 2.5%, signaling heightened volatility in the market. On the brighter side, the Russell 2000, a barometer for the small cap stock, gained 0.4%, reflecting investor confidence in domestic growth-oriented companies. North of the border in Canada, the S&P TSX Composite Index promoted and posted the gains of 0.03%, adding 8 points, and the TSX 60 experienced a slight dip. The mixed performance points to a balancing act between sectors. In Latin America, the picture was more dynamic. Mexico's S&P BMV IPC surged 0.29%, gaining a solid 144.21 points, driven by optimism in the country's economic outlook. However, Brazil's Bovespa fell 0.04%, losing 48.9 points, signaling caution among the investors despite Brazil's long-term potential. Chile's S&P IPSA meanwhile faced a notable loss of 0.37%, with a drop of the commodity market inflection, with the overall markets remaining patchwork of caution, optimism, and sector-specific. The pullbacks investor continues to navigate macroeconomic signal and the impact of the global economic trends, with the regional variance highlighting the uneven recovery across sectors and geographies. In the energy sector, WTI crude oil and Brent crude oil both declined, dropping 1.1% and 1.03% respectively. WTI closed at $68 while the Brent settled at $72. The decline reflects concern over the global demand amidst economic uncertainties. Meanwhile, the natural gas bucked the trend, rising by 0.53% to $3.6, signaling increased seasoned demands. Precious metals stood out as a safe haven asset, gained favor. Gold climbed by 0.1%, adding $26 to close at $2,000, reflecting its enduring appeal amid market volatility. Similarly, silver rose 0.6% to $29, benefiting from increased industrial and investment interest. In agriculture, soybeans saw a notable rise of 1.3%, closing at $9, driven by robust export demand and supply concerns. Overall, today's commodity market underscores a shift towards safe haven and agricultural strength, with energy commodities feeling the weight of global economic concerns. Investors remain attuned to evolving market dynamics as they navigate uncertainties in the future. We'll be right back after a short break. I'm Shweta Simar from New Delhi. Keep watching Millennium Daytime Bulletin.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Welcome back after the break. I'm Shweta Simar from New Delhi. Keep watching Millennium Time Bulletin. South Africa captain Themba Bavuma has set his sight firmly on a historic achievement as his team stands on the brink of making their first ever ICC World Test Championship WTC final set to take place at Lord in June 2025. With South Africa currently leading the points table on the outgoing WTC cycle, Bavuma is determined to guide his side to the final, a prestigious milestone for the team and country's cricketing history. South Africa hold the top position in the WTC standings with 63.3%, placing them within the touching distance of securing a spot in the much-anticipated final. Their next challenge comes in the form of a two-match test series against Pakistan, with the first match scheduled on the December 26 at the SuperSport Park in Centurion, followed by the New Year's Test in the New Zealand in the Cape Town starting January 3. Reflecting on the significance of this opportunity, Bavuma expressed the team collective goal, the World Test Championship. It is the World Cup for the red ball players. Bavuma said, "We are obviously set our sights on the seeing ourselves in the finals. The outcoming series against the Pakistan is crucial, as a win is one of the two test matches would guarantee their place in the finals. The competition for the top spots is fierce, with reigning champions Australia 58% and two-time runner-up India 55%, trailing South Africa in the standings after sweeping Sri Lanka 2-0 in the most recent series. South Africa chances of reaching the finals look strong." Bavuma was optimistic, saying, "We are given ourselves a very good opportunity to do so, and we are quite close to that. We've played some good cricket as a team. We'd want to continue that. The championship means a lot as well to the cricket around the world." In addition, the South Africa other teams in the contention for the final include the India, Australia and Sri Lanka, with Sri Lanka currently sitting in the 5th place as the WTC cycle heads into the final stages. Bavuma reflects on the essence of the Test cricket. "From a pure skill point of view, as players, we've always wanted to play Test crickets. You want to see yourself succeeding where things are tough, where you tested for a long period," he said. "Test cricket's in the purest form of the game, and there are reasons why they have said that." The 39-year-old American surpassed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar when he completed his 57th minute on the court on the 1-300 victory on Friday. James, who eclipsed Abdur for the NBA all-time scoring record earlier this year, scored 19 points while the teammate Austin Reeves lead with the 25 points. "It's just a commitment to the craft and the passion and love I have for the game," said James. "I don't take much time in the off-season, a little bit more time now." Elsewhere, Brooklyn Nets center Nick Claxton was ejected from the court for throwing a ball into the crowd during his side's 101-94 win over the Toronto Raptors. Claxton showed his frustration after the fouled on his way for the basket before being escorted off court officials by the attempting to throw a cushion. Meanwhile, Zach Lavin scored a season-high 36 points as he guided the Chicago Bulls to 117 win over the defending champions, the Boston Celtics. Lavin sunk 6 three-pointers while adding 6 rebounds and 4 assists as the Bulls recorded their third straight victory. French star Victor scored 42 points to help the San Antonio Spurs to a 133 overtime triumph over the Atlanta Hawks. while Shai Gilgeous-Alexander 35 points led Oklahoma City Thunder to a 105 win over the Orlando Magic. There was also victories for the Memphis, the New York Knicks, and the Houston Rockets. That's all for now. Thank you for tuning in. Stay with us for more updates. Log in to stay updated with the latest news on our social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Millennium News 24. Don't forget to check out our YouTube channel, Millennium News 24, and you can also watch us on Android and iOS devices as well as on the Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, and all smart TV platforms. Enjoy entertainment and latest news with us. Download the Millennium TV app, Millennium TV USA for Android, and Millennium News on Google. Thank you for being part of Millennium News 24.